What's up, guys? Dr. Chris Park here, and I just recorded a whole video, and then I got a phone call, and it canceled it all out. So let's try this again. It's something I've been thinking about lately, and it's because I'm seeing a lot of patients who are coming in struggling with depression, and I've just been thinking a lot about this idea of happiness and what it means to have a meaningful life. Okay, so when we think about happiness, when you think like what would make you happy, typically we put these in like two different categories. One I'll call the materialism category, and it's not a negative. It's just like something physical. It's something that if you could just have that, you'd be happy. So, like if you could just get that raise at work, you'd have a little more money every month. You'd be happy. If you could just, afford to get a new car, you'd be happy. Or maybe it's not like a need to afford something. It's just like you see this nice shiny thing, and you're like, oh, that'll make me so happy if I could just have that. If I could have that Porsche, or if I could just have that nice house and that manicured lawn, I'd be happy. Or maybe it's like if I could just get my spouse to do the laundry and take out the garbage, I'd be happy. If I could just get them to help with the kids some, I'd be happy. Or maybe it's like, if my kids weren't struggling so much in school, I'd be happy. It's like this thing you need. And then the other side, I think of it like as a spiritualistic, even though I'm not saying like religion, I'm saying like an experience. Something you experience in your life would make you happy, like maybe love or something like that. But you see how these things combine together and how they're kind of linked. But really, this pursuit of happiness is what I call a pursuit, lowercase h, happiness. It's a pursuit of dopamine. It's the brain's chemicals that spike that give you some sense of pleasure. And this is normal and this is good. But the problem is if you order your life seeking nothing but this type of happiness, then you're actually going to find yourself miserable. And patients who struggle with heroin addiction are great examples of this, because heroin will boost your dopamine. But if you do nothing but pursue that dopamine boost, you're going to find yourself miserable. And heroin addicts end up typically no longer seeking that great dopamine rush. Even though I'm sure they would be happy if they could hit it, they realize they're not going to hit it anymore. They're really just trying to not be completely miserable. And their entire lives are falling apart around them. And yet they continue to pursue the dopamine boost. No matter what's going on. That is addiction. But you don't have to be a heroin addict to suffer from this same addiction. This addiction of dopamine and this seeking after happiness. So are you saying, doctor, don't be happy? No, of course not. I'm saying that true happiness is something different. It's seeking meaningful existence and a meaningful life. And that is found in all kinds of ways. But that often doesn't bring pleasure. What? Sometimes the most meaningful life you can have is a life of service. My wife has a servant's heart. She takes care of our kids. She's had a heart for to be a foster mom and to do all these things that requires work. And yes, it's rewarding to her, but it's not rewarding in it with a dopamine spike. It's rewarding in a different way. And when you order your life to have a meaningful life and you pursue something meaningful, you're going to hit resistance. You're going to have struggle. You're going to have pain. And think about it like this. Like, if you surround yourself with people that you love and that love you, a family, and maybe you have an extended family, maybe you have grandparents that you love, you're probably going to see your grandparents pass away, right? You're probably going to see your children struggle in some type of way, and that will cause a type of suffering inside of you. But the only cure for that suffering would be not have the attachment and the connections to those people in the first place. And that's not good. I've studied like Buddhism in the past, and to me this lack of desire is not good either, right? But if they say that's how you take away meaning, I'm sorry, that's how you take away suffering, is to just not have any desire for anything. I find that's an empty life as well. Instead, when you order your life and you see that you have purpose and you've got a mission and you've got connections with other people and you've got meaning and you pursue that and you hit suffering, well, now you're suffering for a reason. You're suffering for a cause, and you can get through that. That you can overcome. But I've got friends who are like complete materialists. And what I mean is, I'm not saying, but they just don't believe in anything spiritual, anything outside of what you can touch or feel. But that leads to a certain type of emptiness if you think about it. Now, many people are very capable of just completely ignoring that. And they will say that if you're trying to create a worldview that is outside of that materialism, then you're just being, you're just doing that because it makes you feel better. My point is not to debate any of that. My point is, true happiness is built around a meaningful life, not around the actual pursuit of happiness, if that makes sense. So, just something I've been thinking about, and I am not saying that if you have depression, then you just need to, find a cause to get behind. No. You very well may need medication and deep counseling to help with your depression, okay? There's nothing wrong with you. Meaning there's nothing like necessarily spiritually wrong with you. Although there may be, and although there may be, you may need to get behind some type of cause and some type of purpose in your life. But purpose doesn't have to be some grand scheme. It may just be your family, or maybe something else. And it can be multiple things. It doesn't have to be just one thing. I left a very successful job here recently to start my own clinic. Even though I was a part owner in this other one, I wanted to have something that was just me and something that I could get behind. And I had this deep feeling that it was something I had to pursue, had to do it. And it hasn't been easy. We've been working a lot of hours trying to get everything up and going, but it has been meaningful. And that has made me happy. And that has given me a great peace. So just because something is difficult, just because there's pain and suffering involved, doesn't mean it's not the path you need to pursue. Now, I can't tell you what path you have to pursue, and I can't tell you what to believe or what to think, etc. But I hope you got something out of this, and maybe it was helpful. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions or concerns. All right, guys. Hope you have a great day. Peace.